we were just with Brian Bronduin, our draft open winner, the first one.
Right.
We're going to crown a second draft open winner later tonight. And this is about the end game of the event. Round 7 of 8, about where people start to draw. I know Ely Cassis, playing Reanimator, was undefeated going into this round. He just defeated Ben Friedman, who may or may not be on his way to a back-to-back top 8. Who is playing but Stoneforge.
Right.
We have Jerry Thompson at X1, who was just watched last round, who was playing Black, Blue, Green, Team America. So, they could both be on their way to back-to-back top 8s. And here we have Ben again. As I said, he's actually playing the blue-white Fairies deck that we saw Tim Skowski playing a couple rounds back.
Right. And this is actually going to be essentially a rematch of the match we saw 2 rounds ago. Yep. Different players, same decks.
Yep.
Slight different choices, I think. Or am I wrong that he ran Feast and Famine and Batterskull, or did he run Batterskull and Fire and Ice?
Tim had Feast and Fire and Ice.
Oh, he had an extra sword. Okay.
Ben also only has 3 forces, 3 swords, and has 2 spell snares instead.
Yeah, that's where he fit that in. Because the other deck had 4 swords.
Yep.
More prepared yet for a deck like No Rug, which is going to be,
what his opponent's playing.
Yeah,
Eric
very much
English
so.
Playing No Rug. He has opted for the full 4 Force of Wills, something that's been variable throughout the day. 3 missteps, 3 days. Only 2 Lightning Bolts. 1 Grim Lavamancer. 2 Dryad Arbors. There we go again.
Now, for those of you who have been watching all weekend, we've just passed the 23-hour mark of coverage. Yeah. So there's a lot of magic you've had the opportunity to watch. And I'm looking forward to this. I'm actually curious. We had a draw the last 2 this match we saw. So will we see better, what might have more of an edge?
I don't know. I watched Ben play, and he's a pretty fast player, so I think he might be able to kick it into gear, but we'll have to see.
Now, at the end of that last game, I believe that James Rinkowitz had Tim, his opponent, down to 3 life.
On the ropes there.
Couldn't quite get there.
Game 1 was reasonably close as well. I think the Rug deck might have a bit of a favor in this matchup, though the lack of Lightning Bolts is kind of, a lot of the time, Lightning Bolt was the card that was putting James ahead.
Very much.
1 mana kill a Stoneforge, 1 mana kill a Jace, 1 mana kill you.
He's only got 2 Lightning Bolts.
Yep.
Sideboard-wise, what does he get out of this?
He has Ancient Grudges, Red Blast. He has Jace to bring in.
I don't believe that James had Jace. Is that correct?
He did not. But it does not look like Ben has Jace either. So I think that Ingaric might even have a bigger advantage post-board to the Jace advantage.
Yeah, this is true.
This blue matchup.
We're talking about a list that's maybe about, in the main deck, about 55 or 54 cards of the 60 before. And over here, that's with the Fairies deck. And with the No Rug list, it looks like they're about 56 or 57 of the main deck 60. But those are actually significant differences.
Yeah, it really is. Let's see. Sideboard doesn't look too different. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe Ben's going to play this a bit differently. Maybe that makes a difference. Maybe Eric's going to play a bit differently than James. We'll have to see. So we're about ready to head on over. So let's see where we're at. Who's on the play? Who's mulliganing? Ben on your right. Eric on your left. So Ben on the right playing the Blue-White Fairies deck, and Eric on your left playing the No Rug deck.
Now, Eric was definitely talking with James earlier, just before this round began. So those 2 players are people that are looking at this from the same perspective. They've collaborated a little bit. I don't know that James, I believe, got his list from someone else. He said he didn't have time to brew. Maybe he got it from Eric.
It's very possible. He had the 4 bolts, but it's possible that was not. Maybe he made a couple changes. See. Eric looks like he's on the play and keeping. Ben considering his hand.
Good afternoon, Magic players. If you're interested in signing up for a side event today,
Ben looks like he's sending it right back, which is a big disadvantage in this matchup, where we saw it came down to a lot of cards trading. There's only so many answers for the real trumps, and a lot of those are force tools that cost 2 cards apiece.
after which point we will be closing out for the night. We only need one more for a $10 draft. If you'd like to get on that and start it right away, come on up to the side of the
If a natural order resolves, I mean, the game better end in Ben's favor on the next turn, or it's going to end in Eric's favor very quickly.
Yeah. I would agree with that statement. Natural order cannot resolve if Ben is to win, barring scenarios where Ben just instantly gets to kill Eric on the swing back.
Just waiting for Ben to finish his mulligan shuffle.
Players in $10 draft number 6. Your event is ready. $10 draft number 6 to the stage.
Let's see. Yeah, Ben coming fresh off 2 top 8s, last 2 events on this area. Both with Callblade. One was a top 4, one was a top 8, losing to Tim Skowski for the win. They played the same Callblade deck. I'm assuming that they worked together on the same Stoneforge deck for Legacy too. So Eric leads on a Noble Hierarch, about to get Mental Misstepped. Eric looks like he has Swords, a Force, Tundra Plains. Can't really see what else in his hand from here.
Misstep on return.
Yep. Both players taking a little bit of damage in this matchup. That's not too much about life total for Ben's side. But Eric definitely wants to pressure the life total a little bit here, and that's definitely how he wins. He's definitely the beatdown, I will say.
Swords to Plowshares. Dazed. Leaves Eric with just a Noble Hierarch for this moment versus a Tundra. Back to Tropical. Noble Hierarch comes in for 1.
Justin Long, your draft is waiting for you.
Another player doing well that was doing well yesterday, Dan Musser.
Ben finally decides, casting a Brainstorm here.
Main phase Brainstorm, looking to kind of just filter his hand into some action here. Draws 2 Mutavolts, and I cannot tell what else. Looks like he's probably going to send some lands back here.
Follows up with a Mutavault. No fetching here.
Yep, no shuffle. Maybe he's going to Stoneforge next turn. Just only shuffle away 1, but sometimes you go for it, don't find the fetch.
Wooded Foothills. Looking into the deck.
Justin Yaris, please report to the side events area. Justin Yaris.
Volcanic Island. As always, lots and lots of shuffling. Looks like both of these players also
This may go to time. We'll
see. Enjoying their shuffle effects.
Yep. Eric definitely taking his time to let every shuffle resolve before he moves along. Looks like a Vendilion click. I think that's the Judge foil. Well, Ben is tapped out. Ben debating whether does not force.
The Riptide Lab, Force of Will, Plains and what's the blue card in the middle there?
Vendilion Click.
Okay.
Eric probably going to send that Vendilion Click away. Though Ben does not have a second blue source, it looks like. Maybe he just tells Ben to keep. That might be a reasonable line here. Oh, no. Just
I like getting that click out of there. That means that your click has to be answered by something.
Well, Ben does have 2 cards on top of his deck that were hidden, but
or maybe they were chafe.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, if you're just gonna draw them, you probably just want to hide stuff, but we'll see.
Lets him keep the cards.
Ben draws. It looks like another Vendilion Click.
Riptide Lab makes Mutavault attack.
2 damage in there. Eric drops out.
Looks like a Daze was maybe drawn by Eric English.
Four damage in for Eric. Drops Ben to 13.
Ben untaps. Still looking for a second source of color.
Specifically blue.
There's another Mutavault.
Manland Beatdown continues. Yep. Eric bolts down the Mutavault, has a natural order in hand. Though he does know Ben has the Force of Will there. Looks like he drew another natural order too. Goes with a mental misstep, I believe.
In for 4 in the air again.
Yep. This is how we saw the other games then. Basically just Vendilion Click, applying the beats for a while.
Turn 2 Vendilion Click off of a Noble Hierarch is such an aggressive line.
Vendilion Click is one of the, if not the best creature in Legacy right now. Such a strange blue card, just a 3-power flyer for 3. And then it has this like ridiculous duress ability that kind of... I mean, this was the look at your hand and keep it.
Wasteland. Wasteland hitting the tropical.
Yep.
Not the tropical, pardon me, the volcanic island. Another Hierarch. This means it's a 5 damage Vendilion Click.
So
changes the clock by a whole turn.
1 turn to get there. Draws, does not have it. Scoops him up, and we're on to game 2. Let's take a look.
Spell Pierce only is really awesome in Counterspell Wars and stopping a natural order on turn 3 or 4.
Though,
do you like it?
Unless Ben knows Eric has Jace, I don't like it. If he knows he has Jace, I think you have to board it in. I think you have to win that fight. I think Eric's going to want Grim Lavamancer here. Just gun all of Ben's guys just died at that card.
Seems totally reasonable. Wrath of God is an incredibly reasonable choice.
Yeah, Wrath of God versus Progenitus is awesome. I think Eric might board in this. I don't really think this runs too... I could go either way on this run. Ancient Grudge is coming in. Though I don't know, maybe Eric doesn't know Ben's on Stoneforge Mystics. Just saw some Mutavaults. I guess if you see Mutavault, you have to assume...
You're going to assume Spellstutter.
Which assumes Stoneforge. And even if it's just blue-white, you have to assume Stoneforge. Even if they're not Stoneforge, they're going to have some targets. Jace is coming in and Red Blast are coming in. But that's a lot of cards, so I don't know exactly what Eric's going to take out, maybe. Force Will. Force Will's out for Eric for sure.
There's still something to be said about natural order with force protection.
Yeah, but that's not the... You're just attacking them. I think it might even be reasonable for Eric just to take out the natural orders almost. You know, yeah, it's this great sort of bomb that can resolve, but...
What about
why not
Dazes?
just draw cards that let you beat them down?
What about Dazes? I mean, the Daze, oftentimes...
He's not going to draw. I can see cutting it.
He's not going to try, I don't think, to cast the turn 3 or turn 4 natural order, is he? I mean, and expect to have his opponent tapped out?
I don't know. It really depends on how he wants to play it. I think you could play it the sort of straight beatdown way where he boards out Force, Natural Order, Progenitus, boards in like Jace's Red Blast, Ancient Grudges, and kind of turns into kind of Caleb Grower's Zudak almost. But he could also play it more of a combo way and just kind of not really board in the Lavamancers, maybe board in like maybe some Jaces, maybe some Red Blasts, and just sort of board around these Lightning Bolts and Fire Ices and try and get there that way. Maybe some Daisies out there. Ben, on the other hand, let's see. I can see Ben boarding up on Swords effects. He has access to 4 swords to pass, so maybe up to 5. 4 or 5 feels like the right number somewhere in there. Wrath of God coming in, and Spell Pierce if he knows about Jace. I can also see Crucible being awesome in this matchup. Just the
Crucible Wasteland. I mean, we saw how effective Wasteland was against James.
0 basics in this no rug deck.
Yeah.
0.
Now, he obviously does not have Eric English's deck list, but I mean, it's one of those decks that a basic land can sometimes be a real liability when you're trying to be all 3 colors with early casts on all of them.
Well, specifically, green on Hierarch, double blue on Vendilion Click really makes basic lands not what you want to be doing. So maybe 1 basic at most in this deck. But
I could see like 1 island
does
potentially.
Does it even help you that much? Probably not.
Not too much.
Yeah. You know, like this all basic thing in non-combo decks is perfectly reasonable. You know, you want to play a game, you're going to play a lot of lands over the course of that game, and you know, you can't just say, "Oh, they're not going to waste me on 1, they're not going to waste me on 2." Sometimes, like your mana's just not going to support it.
Well, like
you just have to accept it and say, like, I can't just go all the way up my curve without getting wastelanded. There's just no way to make my cards work.
The usual reason that you go with the basics is usually more about wasteland than anything else. And if you're a deck that actually might have a clock on the table, your opponent wastelanding you is almost like a favor.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, oh, you wastelanded me. Well, I guess we'll just do that turn over again. Here's the Tarmogoyf coming on in.
Well, the important thing about wasteland is that you only want to dodge wasteland if you can dodge it to the point where it matters. Like, if you're dodging it up to 4 to hit Jace, that's fine. But if you're just like randomly dodging it for a turn and then you know, well, I can only afford 1 basic, I'm casting 4 drops. Not worth it. Don't want to randomly draw a forest and lose. Or worse, trick yourself into fetching forest and lose.
Ben here. Look, he's got that look of somebody who's just like, wants to get to a game 3. You know, here comes the smiles. That's nice to have the hardcore energy drop down a little bit. You know,
just wants to start this game up and crush with some Stoneforge Mystics. I think that's what he wants.
So what Ben is getting out of less swords of all kinds, swords to plowshares and sword of fire and ice, is access to spell snare, which I don't believe we saw in the other list. Is that correct?
That's correct. I don't know how good it is in this matchup. The no-rug deck is very good at diversifying its mana costs.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and did we see main deck Jace in Tim's deck?
Oh, he has Jace. I didn't see it in the Planeswalker section. That changes a lot.
There we go. We actually, the deck list we have in front of us is the Star City Games. They're kind of a standard deck list form. And there's a Planeswalker section that, because Ben Friedman respected the creature section, the land section, and the spell section, we looked at the Planeswalkers section and saw no Planeswalkers. But looking through the spells, there are 4 Jace the Mind Sculptors listed with the rest of the spells.
So I think that, so the difference in deck list, neg 1 swords, neg 1 force, plus 2 spell snare, neg 1 sword of fire and ice, plus the 4th Jace. So,
I'm talking about 57 of 60 from the last time we saw this with Tim.
Still the Riptide Lab, too. Max, 8 colorless lands is about the max I think you can go to. So, I don't know. The Jace doesn't really change that much in sideboarding. Maybe it makes Spell Pierce a little... I don't know if it makes it more or less attractive. It makes it a bit more as protection for your Jace, and it makes it more of a Jace fight than a lopsided battle against it. But on the other hand, do you want Spell Pierce to counter their Jace, or are you just going to use your Jaces to trade with theirs? I think that Ben needs to have Spell Pierce then to counter the other Jaces to protect his, because that's how he's going to win against this early onslaught. This a bit more, I guess, the fact that Eric gets to take out Force and be this bit more card-efficient deck than Ben's deck. Dealing out hands. Ben looks like he's keeping.
There we go.
So I think Eric...
Land go. Tundra. Eric looking like he's looking at is that a Taiga?
Yep. The unfortunate land in the deck, I'd assume. Doesn't make blue for Vendilion. Green Sun for Dryad Arbor on the stack. It's going to resolve. I always like the tech of putting it back into the library as you're searching. Just don't forget, don't let it end up in the graveyard.
Back to Ben. Ben lays island.
See if we have a Stoneforge Mystic here. Not running it into a daze, so that seems pretty safe. And I think that, I guess not. Does not have it in hand, presumably. I think there's a Spellstutter Strike in Ben's hand. Eric plays a Scalding Tarn. No Vendilion Click mana, but getting towards something.
Attack for 1.
A Green Sun Zenith does in fact get a creature. So Dryad Arbor gets in there for 1.
Virtual Llanowar Elf.
Yep.
Spellstutter Sprite could hop in the way, but that seems like a big waste.
It depends if Eric's if Ben thinks Eric is aiming to get to 4 and trying to cast bombs at that point, or whether Ben thinks that Eric's trying to play the beatdown game.
That's absolutely fair.
I think that if Eric was trying to get to 4, he wouldn't just jam the guy in there. Maybe Ben thinks that Eric doesn't know about Spellstutter Sprite though, so
Wasteland from Ben Friedman.
choosing not to Wasteland right now is interesting. Maybe he's just not afraid. Maybe he's just not afraid of the Dryad Arbor. Could be playing a Vendilion Click. Could be waiting for that Scalding Tarn to crack and waste the blue source is probably what I'm thinking. I think this is a draw step waste the Taiga. Ben's like, oh wait, don't want to get natural. Or main phase waste the Taiga?
I think it's a draw. I don't think it's... main phase wouldn't make much sense to me. Draw step makes sense.
Yeah, just waste the Taiga. Yeah. Arbor gets in there for 1. It might have been a beginning of combat after he didn't play a land first main. Let's see here. Ben suspends Ancestral Visions. And Eric suddenly on somewhat of a clock. That Visions is going to get Ben into some action that should put him ahead. Now he offers to trade with the Dryad Arbor because now that Eric has demonstrated that he does not have lands, that is...
it's time to go after the...
Just wasteland him out of the game.
Block.
Eric's probably going to bolt down this Spellstutter Sprite before blocks, but see if there's a misstep waiting to happen here. Or, yep, no misstep. Bolt just trades for Sprite, and Eric's Dryad Arbor gets to live another day.
Continuing its fantastic beatdown.
Mm-hmm. And that's a Jace coming down for Ben, and I expect to see some... Nope, chooses to Brainstorm. I mean, I'm pretty aggressive with my Jaces. I might have started Fate Sealing the game away. Especially because you just saw Lightning Bolt. May want to keep it on a burn range. I don't know what the exact counts on no rug lists are for bolts, but maybe Ben's afraid of the Pyroblast post board. Just wants to get value.
There's
the
misstep.
And there's
misstep back.
Yep, looks like that. And Jace down.
One of the things we saw when we were watching Tim and when Tim playing it, every time he downed the Jace for reasonable value on the board, the Jace didn't have that same devastating effect we're used to seeing in Standard.
Yeah.
Because of that lack of getting the card.
Yeah,
Ben
Jace just kind of died right on the spot every time. Whereas that Jace, the Brainstorm got some value. It looks like, Ben drops down to 14, but his Visions is 1 turn away from going off. Ben cracks a Misty Rainforest, shuffles away the Tundra that he puts into play, essentially.
Joey Pasco would like us to know that Ben Friedman plays with a number of past Star City Games top 8ers. Kurt Spies, Paul Lynch, a couple others. He's a Baltimore player.
Yep.
Perhaps he's a fan of The Wire.
He's wearing an Atlanta Falcons hat, so I don't know what's going on with that. Eric's hand looks loaded with action that is a little bit mana light to cast.
Fire Ice in hand.
Gonna brainstorm, I think.
There's a Spell Stutter Sprite.
Reading exactly what that card does.
Fairies in play.
Eric's trying to figure out if you can fire that down.
1 and 1?
Yep.
Sure.
Okay.
Brainstorm resolves. I'll take 1. Ben goes down to, I believe, 11.
Yep.
Brainstorm finds a Jace.
Progenitus goes back to the deck, obviously.
Do you think it's possible that he lowered his number of natural orders to be maybe more interested in a natural order in a late game rather than an early game?
Go down to 3, maybe? Sure, I can see
like
that. Drawing multiples might not. Though drawing multiples might be just what you want. You know, depending on how many green creatures you can field, may just want to slam the order, natural order, make them fight over it.
Look
slam
at
the
that.
next one.
Aggressive Ancestral Visions. Reaching way across the board. Ancestral Visions. Does that work?
Are you
Yes.
targeting me? No?
There it is.
Okay. Now, this is the full grips facing off in this matchup.
Both have full hands, but one of them has twice plus in lands.
Yep.
Eric says go. Ben doesn't do anything EOT. Ben lays another Mutavault. In with a Mutavault. The last time we saw this match, it went to time.
Vendilion
Click during combat? Or at the end of the turn?
End of turn. I think that Eric's looking to close out rather than trade that Vendilion Click.
Good point.
Doesn't want to make this game go any longer with Ben having the mana advantage.
Very good point. Ben might respond with his own click.
Yeah.
Clickety clickety.
This is a kind of awkward scenario because once this click resolves, he gets to peek at Eric's hand and then spell stutter. Oh, chose not to sprite down the other click. Oh wow, that is a.
It's a pretty awesome hand.
There's a Terracidon that he chose to board aim. Spell Pierce, Jace, Brainstorm, and Mental Misstep. Probably take the Jace as the most threatening card, unless you.
Depends on your hand, right?
I guess it's either Jace. Brainstorm's also very threatening here.
Like, I think that, let's pretend I were to have a, see what Ben Friedman's list has for counterspells. Let's say I had a Spell Pierce. I might not be so concerned about the Jace.
Looks like Ben just has a. I know he has a Wrath of God. Can't see what else though. Let's see.
I mean, Eric not having any mana right now can definitely deeply affect the value of changing anything. He does get rid of the Jace.
Yep, force him to brainstorm into a threat rather than just leave him with the one that matters.
And then it's the other one's turn. Is that
Mental
Misstep?
That was the other card.
Wrath of God, Mutavault, Flooded Strand.
Let's see. Yeah, Wrath of God's going to go away, presumably, if Eric wants anything. I think Eric just has to take the Wrath, otherwise the Madland Beatdown's going to quickly dispatch him.
Yep, there it is, as predicted. Untap for Eric. Noble Hierarch drawn. This is something we saw before. It really felt as though, with Tim playing this 2 rounds ago, it seemed like he ran out of gas.
Yeah.
Even after the Ancestral Visions came through.
Yeah. For the no rug deck, maybe it's just all the lands and the
so
Mutavaults
thick
not
with
being.
threats.
Yeah, the no rug deck is so threat dense.
Oh my God, Sylvan Library. Now,
That will get somewhere.
Eric only has 13 life left, so he can't overly aggressively use it, particularly in the face of 2 Mutavaults in play and 1 Mutavault in hand. But he can still get some use.
You can still top with it, essentially.
Super top, no mana. Well, also, unfortunately, only on your own turn, but...
Yeah. You invest the 1 now, get it back immediately. Oh, that's a Jace for Ben. Probably just going to brainstorm immediately off of that Jace.
Jace would be a first of the nails in the coffin. Mutavault number 3.
Ben's presumably thinking about whether he wants to just crack in, get the actual damage clock going, or whether he wants to get this Jace into play and hope to outcard Eric from here. Maybe worry about another Pyroblast making things difficult. I think you have to just Jace and brainstorm.
Jace. Returns Dryad Arbor.
Ooh, I didn't see that line.
Batterskull. Tapping out.
Yeah, I completely forgot that one of the lands down there was a Dryad Arbor.
That means he can attack for 10 on the coming turn. Eric English cannot activate the Sylvan for an extra card unless he gets an answer to one of those cards.
There's a Pyroblast.
Pyroblast doesn't answer any of those cards.
Actual Germ Token coming in.
Dryad Arbor can return to the table to play defense. Pyroblast can try to stop the Jace from doing any more damage. Mental Misstep, if Ben Friedman has it, would protect it, but even with the letting it...
would stop the misstep, but even then, I don't think that this game's going to end very well for Eric.
That Batterskull is huge right now. Goodbye, Jace. It's done some work.
You know, you're facing down 10 power. All you have is, Noble Hierarch, a 1/1 and 2 lands.
Lays a fetch land.
Man up everything and crash in.
Here they come. And Ben Friedman attacks with 4 germs.
Good call. Good call. Attacks with 4 germs and 3 unicorns.
3 unicorns. Bad times for Eric English. Very little that can be done here. Even that situation we talked about before about a natural order wouldn't save him.
Nope. And moving to 3. I'll be interested to see whether this round is going to finish in time, how much time we have left right now. Let's see what the word is. Adrian, how much time left?
18 minutes.
That's a little bit better than last time. Last time we were on about 4.
After they finished shuffling, they had 4 minutes left.
No, it was before they finished shuffling.
Well, they had a 2-minute extension.
Yeah.
So it ended up being after they finished shuffling, they had 4.
Yep. So apparently Eric English is a Jupiter Games New York ringer. Jupiter Games being Eli Cassis's store. Or Eli Cassis, my bad, apologies.
So looking at the way that game played out, did we actually, we saw a Jace from Eric English too, is that correct? Or did he board in Jaces?
Yes, he did have a Jace that got sent away with Mendelian Click.
That's it, right. So perhaps what has happened for Eric is that Eric has turned himself into a deck.
But he had the Progenitus and Terastodon, so he has everything.
Gosh, I mean, how do you fit it all? He had Fire Ice, we saw Bolt, we saw... We did not see Daze.
Maybe he cut Tarmogoyf. I don't know. That doesn't seem correct. If I wanted to play this matchup from the no-rug side, I think I might just cut Natural Order.
You could go down... I know I've seen people go down to 1 Natural Order in the past.
Really?
I mean, I don't think it's necessarily the way to go, but I mean...
Yeah.
I've seen it. He kept the Progenitus, unless his plan is to Green Sun Zenith the Progenitus into play.
That is a deep game you're playing. Does he even have enough mana sources for that? Yes, he does with the Noble Hierarchs.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, he has to have at least 1 Natural Order in there, right? And
he has 13 mana 13 hard mana sources, so he can get there.
Right.
But
I mean, we saw the Progenitus. He's planning on natural ordering it, but where is he making the cuts? Daze is the only card that I don't think we saw.
Do we see Lightning Bolt that game?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, did we? We saw Fire Ice. I think I don't remember if we saw Lightning Bolt.
We didn't see Force of Will.
We did not see Force of Will.
Yep. Probably got Forces and Days and just became the beatdown deck.
That's 7 cards. He gets 7 cards easy there, right? 3 Jace, 2 red, 2 Pyro.
Yep.
But he still fit in a Terastodon, and he fit in Spell Pierces.
Maybe he skimmed on natural orders. He didn't see one that game.
Yeah.
I think you just go to 0 natural orders, 0 targets, and just beat down with when you only play Tarmogoyf. You know, the other deck's going to have Forcible. It's going to have to respect your natural order plan. And the only thing you're really afraid of at that point is just Ancestral Visions going off and them drawing enough gas to get out of it. But even then, what gas are they drawing? You know, you're going to out-Jace them with these Red Blasts. You know, you have these Ancient Grudges for all their equipment. I don't really see them... I think that post-board, it's very possible that this Blue-White Fairies deck just simply does not have enough relevant cards to beat this No-Rug deck if it just turns into an efficient beatdown deck.
Now, one of the things I'm curious about is Eric talked to James Pinklewitz after James totally had Ancient Grudges rot for him. Like, James's Ancient Grudges, if they had been something else, might have turned the tables for him when he ran out of time.
That is true.
So I wonder if Eric, he's friends with James, they talked, and afterwards, maybe Eric is choosing definitely not to run a card like Ancient Grudge against a deck